Hello from TRENDSIGNAL, review of the US election taking place on Tuesday this week. It's a key week for the US, obviously, but also the rest of the globe and indeed the markets that we trade. A big reversal in risk Sunday night following announcement by James Comey, director of the FBI, that an examination of new emails related to Hilary Clinton's private server had reaffirmed his earlier decision not to recommend prosecution. Putting that into plain English, there's no smoking gun and he shouldn't have done it in the first place, etc., etc. It was a bit curious 10 days ago that the FBI should make that announcement, as they did, about one of those two candidates standing for US president. Anyway, all those moves 10 days ago have been partially reversed. Equities are sharply higher on Monday morning, Dow up about 250 points. European markets following suit, especially with the FTSE up 80 to 90 points. Gold, not surprisingly, reversing a lot of its gains, down $16 on the day. Dollar less moved, maybe about 5% higher versus the majors, and obviously bonds down as a reaction. Needless to say, Trump has now gone from bashing Clinton and saying she is corrupt to going back to his previous mantra that the system is rigged against him. Always curious when you sort of regard it that Trump continues to use a strategy of blaming his loss on issues even before the vote, but that's the way it goes. Other bit of update, obviously we've had the US daylight savings, so we're back to the usual 5-hour difference with the US now, so it's important just to remember that. So back to a 5-hour difference now. Okay, let's have a look at the US election. I'm just going to run a PowerPoint. Okay, here we go. Okay, the election takes place tomorrow. It's for the 45th president. It's decided by Electoral College votes, which in fact is nothing to do with a college. It is a virtual college, you could say. There are a total of 538 Electoral College votes up for grabs, and it's first past the post, which basically means either Donald Trump or Hilary Clinton need to win 270 votes. It's possible that other candidates, independents, there's a candidate in Utah, for example, who potentially could win the 6 or 4 college votes are up for grabs there. So it's possible that Trump or Clinton could win by less votes, but as long as they have a majority, that's key. Each state has a number of electors that make up this electoral college. The number for each state, that's the number of electoral votes for each state, is made up of or based on the representation in Congress. So that's, for example, in Nevada, you've got a total of 6 representatives there, 4 of them being representatives and 2 of them senators. So, for example, in Nevada's case, they will have 6 electors, and it's the presidential candidate that wins the majority of votes in each state that gets all college votes, not a percentage of them, but all of them. So if Trump or Clinton get the majority of votes in Nevada, they will have all 6 electoral college votes. The biggest states by number of college votes are California, which is way out ahead. It's really sort of based on population, really. That's how they get the number of congressmen, representatives and senators in the Congress. Texas, the second biggest, New York, then Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, a little bit of a swing state, but as you can see here, the key to this election is down to the swing states where voters remain undecided. Up to 20% of voters haven't decided within 2 days of the election. Florida is the biggest swing state, that is. It's got 25 electoral college votes up for grabs, and it really is absolutely key that Trump wins this state. If he doesn't, then he has to win pretty much every other swing state that is up for grabs. Other big states are swing states, I should say, are North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Pennsylvania is key because it has 21 votes. Nevada, mentioned it already. It is a swing state with just 6 votes. But it actually has called the election correctly for a long time, bar one, I think 1976, i.e. whichever candidate Nevada votes for ends up becoming president, bar 1976. for the time being, the Democrats certainly look stronger in Nevada in the run-up to this election. Time will tell, obviously. Again, just to reiterate, it is first past the post. Whoever wins each state takes all of the electors' votes. It is possible that the winner could become president by polling fewer votes than their rival, and that does happen in the UK as well with our constituency voting. 2000, we had Al Gore against George W. Bush, and if you recall that particular episode, George Bush ended up winning the presidential election, but he actually had fewer votes than Al Gore, but he got 271 of the Electoral College votes compared to 267 for Al Gore. And if you recall, there were all those problems in Florida where there were a number of recounts to do with these pregnant chads. Something like over 1,200 voting cards were questioned. In the end, George Bush, I think, won by about 560 votes in Florida, which is extraordinary that a mechanical device was responsible for potential change in the President of the United States. Anyway, that was then. The electors that make up this Electoral College cast their votes for the new president, and that's they always do it in line with what they're mandated to by the vote. Occasionally you do get the odd elector that doesn't vote correctly, and they're called unfaithful or the faithless, but that's highly unusual. The new president is sworn into office in January, actually, on the 20th, Friday the 20th. Barack Obama will remain president until that time, the first African-American president. Either Donald Trump or Hilary Clinton will be the 45th president. If Clinton becomes president, she'll be the first woman president of the United States. The election is carried out on Tuesday. The polls, because of the time differences across the United States, from the East Coast 5 hours through to Texas, then Nevada, then on to California, the difference is as much as 9 hours to us, but there's a 4-hour difference across the United States. So the polls close at different times between 12 a.m. our time and 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning. As soon as the polls close in each state, the pollsters, media organizations, etc., will announce their predictions. Obviously, the main states, the bellwether states, the big ones I've mentioned, the likes of California, Texas, New York, Pennsylvania, are key. But actually, it's the swing states that really, really matter. And it's when these results are announced, when those polls close, I should say, and the exit polls taken, that the predictions will flood in, and that's when the markets will start to fly. The winner for the last couple of elections has been announced by 4 a.m. on in the morning, by which time all the voting is obviously finished, except one state, Alaska. Must be a bit strange for Alaska, whereas they continue to vote, knowing that they've been told by media organizations what the result will be. Market reaction, well, that's key to us in terms of our role here. A lot of serious media organizations, I say serious, I mean, Trump seems to think there's a conspiracy by all media against him. In the UK, which we're more familiar with, the economists and the FT have argued clearly for Clinton. I think the economists labeling Trump dangerous, which is, some people say, is a little bit of an understatement. Even over the weekend, he commented about nuclear weapons, saying, what's the point of having nuclear weapons if you don't use them? I'm not sure he understands the word deterrent. Charles Schwab, over the weekend, also published a survey that clearly shows that investors prefer Clinton, but it's extraordinary, actually, by what sort of a margin that was. Those investors who were polled plan to vote, 46 plan to vote for Clinton, and just 28% plan to vote for Trump. And we do know, obviously, that Wall Street in general, despite a lot of Republicans existing on Wall Street, are anti-Trump, not surprisingly, with a foreign policy that he's discussed, and also the protectionist views that he holds. So free trade would suffer, and foreign policy would be an unmitigated disaster, I suspect. So in terms of just summing it up, really, the market reaction, if Trump wins, very much risk off, something that we saw over the last 10 days with the FBI's investigation into Clinton emails, as the equity markets fell sharply, the dollar declined and gold rallied sharply. Clinton gets in, yeah, risk on, or I should say probably more of the same, which basically means equities will respond, the dollar will respond, gold will come off, and bonds are likely to probably slide partially, I would say. But in terms of the interpretation of what's going on, the risk that Trump gets in is a lot greater than if Clinton gets in. And I think whether it be 30%, 25% probability of Trump getting in, I think the market is unprepared for that potential risk. So if there is the slightest indication on Wednesday morning that he's going to get in, you could see these markets suffer considerably. Could be a very interesting Wednesday morning. That's it. Thank you very much for listening. Bye for now.
If you would like more information about trading the right way, TrendSignal is giving you the opportunity to see and hear about its services live at a free online seminar. Take a look at the TrendSignal website for the latest events and to book your free place.